recording. What's up, interwebs? Welcome to the Storytime Podcast. I'm Tim.
I'm Adam.
And then I was not at all yawning. It's Adam, your face makes me tired.
I literally hit the button to record the episode, and you started your yawn.
Your face makes me yawn. What can I say? Anyway, welcome to the Storytime Podcast. This is where we go through an old first draft of mine. Adam reads a chapter, and then we discuss the story later on afterwards. This is season 2 of the Storytime Podcast, so we're going through the second novel I ever wrote, which was part of an 8-book series at the time, called Marks of Eilira, Strangers from Another World. And this is episode 17. We're getting close to the end, Adam.
Close to the end?
Very close to the end.
Okay.
So, but before we get to the reading, we got some stuff we got to take care of, Adam.
Yes.
Like, who's this in the chair that was supposed to be here who decided not to show up?
There's no one in the chair.
There's someone in the chair, Adam. Who's in the chair, Adam?
There's never someone in the chair.
Little inside joke there. Anyway, if you're going to enjoy this episode, we'd love it if you would go on and smash that like button and do it as a prayer to the holy algorithm.
The holy algorithm.
And subscribe, because I got content on this channel for writers. Maybe you need some entertainment, not more advice on writing. So why don't you go out and check out Adam's terrible gameplay channel,
ZOP Gaming. That's right. If you want to watch a bunch of people play video games together, like long story style video games, if you ever want that, go check out my channel. We play long story video game stuff out there. Like 100 episodes plus of Assassin's Creed.
I think I get it, Adam. I think I get it.
Cyberpunk. There's some other games that what else is going on the channel right now? Resident Evil,
Red Dead Redemption.
That's a throwaway thing. That's just I'm just allowing a friend to have a show on the channel.
Sure.
Just so that they would feel like they're involved, I guess.
Sure.
Or is that?
He's the best one on there. So
that's
whoever was playing God of War,
metric.
whoever's playing God of War and Tomb Raider, I'm glad you got rid of them and got this guy replaced them.
Okay,
because
good.
He's doing a much better job than that guy ever did.
It's an incremental improvement.
All right, with that all done, let's get to the reading, and then we'll be back to discuss Chapter 17.
17. Escape the mines. What soldiers? Asked Ryan. The ones behind you, said DL, still breathing heavily. Alkline turned around to face Ryan and Zach, who turned to face the direction they had just come from. The light of their torches did little to pierce the darkness of the mines. For a few moments, Alkline stared into the darkness, but nothing could be seen or heard that might give away that anyone was there beyond the edge of the light. He's lying, said Zach. He's trying to divert our attention away from him. Oh, they are there, trust me. They are waiting for you to prove that you are not there. That is bull, said Ryan. Alkline, you're not buying this, said Zach, turning around to face Alkline and DL. Alkline stood with their eyes closed. Zach could not believe that Alkline was sleeping at a time when soldiers were surrounding them. He could not believe that he was going to stand there with his eyes closed and not check to see if the soldiers were there or question DL any further. After several moments, Zach had enough of Alkline not doing anything. He turned and took a step towards the edge of the light. Boom! A loud explosion came after a bright flash of light flew past Zach's shoulder. As fast as the explosion came, it seemed as if time had slowed down as the light was only an inch away from colliding with him. The intensity of the light nearly blinded him, but not white. He could make out that the light had a bluish tint to it. That was not all. In the mere second it took to pass by him, his whole body became chilled, as all the warmth was removed from his body. This only lasted for a few milliseconds as the light was right next to him, but as soon as the light passed, the warmth returned. After the warmth returned, the next thing Zach realized was that the force of the explosion had knocked him off his feet, and he was on his back. His head swelled as it bounced off the mine floor, followed by the return of the icy chill. While in mid-step, the explosion occurred, and with the force of hitting him moments after, he was knocked to the ground. The icy cold ground quickly made the chainmail he had turn cold. After realizing he was on the floor of the mine, he felt something tight wrapping around his right arm. Not sure what was going on, his body moved from the floor of the mines. He felt as if he was floating, but was not weightless. Also, he could tell he was moving, but was not sure how. The experience of moving without doing anything lasted for several minutes before he could feel the jagged side wall of the mine poking him in his back. The swelling of his head slowly became less, and he began to make out things as fuzzy shapes, as well as two of them, one tall, another short. The lighting was limited, making the fuzzy images harder to make out. Several more minutes passed before the images became recognizable as people. A blunt echo, as it was coming from one of the two. Zach had to concentrate hard to make out what the sound was, and then he realized it was not a sound. It was a voice that was calling his name. "Zach!" shouted the voice. "Are you all right?" "What?" asked Zach. "My head feels like someone hit me with a hammer." "Well, it hit solid rock," said another voice. "What is going on? What caused that bright flash?" asked Zach. "I did," said the same voice that answered him as the figure knelt. As Alkline did this, Zach's vision was cleared and he could make out the two people. Ryan was the short figure who was checking on him, while Alkline was standing until he knelt. What did you do to cause that explosion?" asked Zach. "The soldiers were standing about 2 feet off the ledge of that light from the torch," said Alkline. "I fired a blast from my mark, kind of like what you did against Gamegee. However, it had enough power to kill if it hit someone." "Where are we?" asked Zach. "We're in a side tunnel," said Ryan, extending his arm to help Zach to his feet. "You were knocked off your feet and hit your head. Alkline grabbed you and carried you into a side tunnel that leads back to one of the other tunnels when DL took off." "Oh," said Zach, grasping Ryan's hand. Zach pulled as Ryan kept still so he would not fall, and pulled himself to his feet. Once on his feet, before he could fully plant his feet, he wobbled as his balance had not fully returned. Zach was able to keep himself on his feet, but not without placing a hand on the mine wall. After a few moments, his balance stabilized. "What happened to the torch?" asked Zach. "We had to ditch it," said Alkline, now back on his feet. "Once I blasted the soldiers, I told Ryan to ditch the torch and run to his left. I had a floating light from my mark not far down the tunnel. I grabbed you and followed after him. That's why the light is even less than before." "Okay, what now?" asked Zach. "We make our way out of this mine," said Alkline. "If we get caught in here again by those soldiers, fighting them off will be hard." "True, but won't they know which way we are going?" asked Zach. "Possibly," said Alkline. "I'm not sure DL knows that this tunnel leads back around, or they would have come from these side tunnels to fully corner us." "How did you know the soldiers were there?" asked Ryan. "Also, how did you know there was a tunnel to the left and not a wall?" "I didn't know the soldiers were there," said Alkline. "I knew a quick light would be able to reveal if they were. However, if I just flashed and they were there, they would attack. So I decided to blast them, which revealed the soldiers. As for the tunnel, no miner would cut a tunnel to a dead end without another way out. They always cut another way out. Since there were 3 directions before we took off running, DL said they were short, meaning he did not fully explore them. And when we came to the end, I assumed the other 2 tunnels linked back to the main tunnel." "Lucky your assumption was right," said Zach, glancing in the direction they came from. "I think we should get moving." "I think so too," said Alkline. Zach turned and faced Ryan and Alkline. With a nod, they took off down the side tunnel back towards the main tunnel. It was not long before Zach noticed the small orb-shaped object that provided the light for them now. It floated a few feet ahead of them and provided enough light to let them see if something was ahead of them. They traveled for a few minutes before they reached a bend that would lead to the intersection with the main tunnel. "Shouldn't we turn that light off?" asked Zach nervously, thinking the light might give away their position. "No," said Alkaline, coming to a stop. "No one but us can see the light." "What?" said Ryan, surprised by such an idea. "How can only certain people see the light?" "Being very skilled with the marks," said Alkaline. "Demarcus can do the same thing. I believe the soldiers are no ordinary soldiers. I think they have the marks of the Lord and are causing the darkness." "How so?" asked Zach. "Just as we can only see the light, using their marks to make anyone without the marks of the Lord's cannot see their light," said Alkaline. "Usually mines have torches every few feet. This one has none except when we first walked in. Likewise, I am only allowing someone with marks of sentinels to see my light." "How can I see the light?" asked Ryan, looking at Alkaline. "That is tricky," said Alkaline. "I've had to do two things at once. By making a guide over your eyes that the light registers as a mark of the sentinels. I know it sounds hard to believe, but trust me, no one but us three can see this light." "Okay," said Zach. "Then let's get going." The three rounded the bend, turned right, and were back on the main tunnel. Moments after rounding the bend, a bright light flew out of the dark and hit the mine wall right over Ryan's shoulder. Alkaline, Ryan, and Zach turned to see 4 soldiers running right at them. "Stay right where you are," shouted one of the soldiers. "Zach, Ryan," shouted Alkaline. "Run!" Zach and Ryan did not hesitate and took off in the opposite direction from the soldiers. As they ran, several small lights flashed by, hitting the walls. Small pieces of rock shot from the all as the light hit them, but nothing too big. Zach and Ryan pumped their legs as fast as they could, rounding the bends to get away from the soldiers. After several minutes of running, they noticed that the lights had stopped flying around them. It was then that they realized that Alkaline was no longer with them. They quickly stopped and turned to see that Alkaline was nowhere in sight. They stood still, wondering what might have happened. 1,000 different thoughts ran through Zach's head of what might have happened. Did one of the lights hit Alkaline, and they were so focused on getting out that they did not hear him yell? They stood there in the light of the small orb light and looked like a miniature sun. The only sound they could hear was the panting of each other recoiling off the mine walls. "What should we do now?" asked Ryan, breaking the silence. "I think we should go back and find him," said Zach, still gasping for air. "Alkaline told us to run," said Ryan. "I think we should do what he said." "He's our only hope for saving Violet," said Zach. "If anything happens to him, we are stuck here in this world, only to wait for Sphere to get sick of waiting and come kill us." Bang! The entire mine shook, and the loud explosion ricocheted throughout the mine. Zach and Ryan grabbed onto the side of the mine to keep their balance. Almost immediately after the mine began to shake, the light orb went out, and the tunnel became pitch black. Zach did not like this. Now he could see nothing but black. He moved his hand in front of his face, but could not see it. He knew it was there, only because he could feel the cool air that brushed his face. Only moments after the light went out, the unthinkable happened. The entire mine lit up. The mine was flooded with light, chasing the darkness away as if it were on the run like an outlaw in an old western. What shocked Zach the most was the torches that were not evenly placed on the mine wall, all lit, which revealed the light source. Alkaline had been right. The soldiers were preventing them from seeing the light. What Zach could not understand was why they could see the light now. Ryan was just as shocked as Zach when the light came back on and the mine stopped shaking. They both let go of the mine wall and looked at each other. Neither one had to say anything. Both knew what the other was thinking. Moments later, they heard the rattling of a metal coming from behind them. They knew the sound was the moving of chainmail since they had heard it every time they ran. Zach turned and placed his hand on the handle of his sword, ready to draw if he needed to. The sound drew closer. Ryan also placed his hand on his sword. In a matter of moments, the sound was right upon them. Just around the last bend, they turned. Beads of sweat started to form on Zack as the sword rattled from his hand, shaking from the fear of possibly having to fight. At last, the sound rounded the bend, and a great sigh of relief came over Zack and Ryan as Alkaline rounded the bend at full speed. Upon seeing them, he put on the brakes and came to a full stop. Quickly noticed that both of them had their hands on their sword.
"It's all right,"
said Alkaline out of breath.
"It's just... me."
"Good," said Zack, taking his hand off the handle of his sword.
"What happened?"
asked Ryan, also removing his hand from the sword's handle.
"I attacked them after I told you to run,"
said Alkaline.
"I knew if I could distract them long enough, you could get enough lead that I could slow them down."
"So you were never with us when we ran?" asked Zack, shocked to hear this. "Do you have any idea how worried we were?"
"Sorry,"
said Alkaline.
"It was the easiest way. Having to protect you while defending against attacks would have been a lot harder. Also, it allowed me to keep them together. So when I saw you were nowhere in sight, I blasted the mine ceiling, causing a cave-in. I did not realize that it was going to cause the whole mine to shake. Well, knocked me off balance. You must likely knew something was happening to me, because I lost focus, which would have caused the light to go out."
"That's why the light went out," said Ryan, feeling relieved to know that what caused it. "But why were we suddenly able to see the light of the torches?"
"Just like when I lost focus,"
said Alkaline.
"the soldiers who were preventing us from seeing the light were either lost focus, but since the light had remained, they were knocked out or dead. We know I was right about what they were doing, but if I was not so sure that was what they were doing, I should have thought twice about that before moving out into the intersection."
"What now?" asked Zack, looking around confused, but calm.
"DL is not with the soldiers I just fought,"
said Alkaline.
"The first blast did not cause a cave-in, since we were stopped for a while, and the soldiers were lying in wait. He got away. But if that is the case, he is going to head back to Cliff to get his things and most likely get as far away from us as he can."
"How do you know he's going back to Cliff?" asked Ryan. "Couldn't he just leave it where the stones are located?"
"Yes,"
said Alkaline.
"When he stopped by the other night while you were sleeping, he had most of his gear that he takes with him when going to search for an artifact. He did not have that with him, so it has to be back at Cliff. He would assume that I would assume the equipment was here all at the mine. He will go nowhere without that equipment. Our best bet is to return to Cliff and try to find him."
"Okay," said Zack. "As you said, he is the only lead we have to where the stones are located." The three of them headed back through the rest of the mine. They were not far from the entrance. Within minutes, they were back out in the open air with the sun shining down on them from high in the sky. They quickly untied their horses and mounted them. Zack realized that DL's horse was missing, leaving him to believe that Alkaline was right. "Alkaline," said Zack, "DL's horse is missing."
"Yeah,"
said Alkaline.
"I noticed that too. We'd better get a move on it. He already has a head start, and most likely already has his stuff ready to go. So all he has to do is grab it."
The three stirred their horses towards the path they had come and kicked them in the side. The horse took off. Going down the mountain was easy. The horses could not go as fast as they could in the open field, but moved faster than they did going up the mountain. It was not long before they were on level ground, and they took off traveling as fast as the horses could go. 30 minutes later, they arrived at the north end of Cliff, and they dismounted their horses and tied them to a pole with rings. Zack jerks his head back and forth, looking to see if he can spot DL. No luck. He turns and looks at Alkaline, who has not spotted him.
We will have to split up, said Alkaline. If you see him, call out.
Okay, said Zach.
Right,
Said Ryan. They all turn and head off in different directions. Alkaline headed towards the east part of the town, while Ryan headed towards the west. Zach continues straight on the road that leads right up to the place they first came into when they first arrived. He walked fast down the road, looking around. He did not take more than 10 steps when DL walked out of the tavern 3 buildings down from Zach. Zach turned to see DL, surprised that he found him so quickly, and he did not hesitate. "I found him!" shouted Zach as he took off running. DL did not hear Zach shout, but as he grew closer, it was obvious that he had heard the pounding of his feet. Very few people were on the street, and the ground was very hard. He glanced up. Zach saw the shock on his face when he realized who was charging right for him. Moments after seeing Zach, he took off running. He turned down a side street and ran as fast as he could. Zach took the corner near full speed, nearly losing his balance, but he quickly caught himself without slowing down. DL and Zach moved out into different streets, but it was futile. DL was too big, and Zach was moving as fast as he could, slowing a little whenever DL took another turn. After several minutes of running, Zach could see that DL was getting tired and leaped with a spring. Normally, someone of Zach's size would have just bounced off someone like DL. But with his weight and speed, and with DL moving as well, Zach smacked into the back of DL. They both were sent crashing to the ground with a loud thump. Both were sent rolling out of control once they hit the ground. After a few feet, they came to a halt. Zach jumped to his feet quickly. He saw Alkaline was standing over DL with his sword to his throat. He turned his head to see Ryan only a few feet away. He stopped running, seeing Zach pop up so quickly. The adrenaline was still surging through Zach's body, and he did not feel the pain from his scrapes from the roll.
All right, clearly nothing happened in this chapter, so wrap up the episode?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're done right here. Thanks, everyone. Bye. No, we're kidding. We're kidding.
This is an interesting chapter.
Yeah.
We captured Deal, and then got nothing out of him yet.
Well, I mean, stuff happened.
Something happens, but we're literally decided. I literally decided to end the chapter before we got what he knows.
I mean,
so
that sometimes you have to do that to drive people to read the next chapter.
that's true. Though I'm pretty sure what's coming after we get what we need.
We realize
There's other things that happen, so that would have been a good place to end too. So
whatever.
I'm guessing on here. It's been a few months since I went through this with grammar check, so I can't remember everything. But anyway, so we'll just go pick up where we left off. We come right in where it's been revealed there's soldiers surrounding them. Deal thinks he's got Alkaline, which makes me question. You apparently know this guy, but you seem to think you can outsmart him.
I mean, they do kind of outsmart him.
Alkaline?
Oh, no.
No, that's what I'm talking about. No, I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Deal thinking he can outsmart Alkaline.
I mean, he brought along backup, okay?
People who should know not to touch these guys because they're on a mission for Lord Sphere. We covered it on the last episode.
It doesn't matter.
And apparently not.
These could be different soldiers.
Well, apparently they are because they can use magic.
I know. I actually no, they don't. Well, maybe they kind of do.
At least one of them does. We know that much.
Yes.
But so I do love this. We got our first bit of Zach logic, but I think it's more of a Zach just being stupid here. Maybe both.
Maybe.
But yes, Zach. When someone's eyes are closed, no matter what's going on, they're clearly sleeping.
I do. That was Zach immediately looking over at Alkaline. Alkaline, who is trying desperately to pierce the veil and have knowledge of what's beyond the light of your torches, which people do all the time. You listen.
Yep.
Sometimes you do close your eyes so that you can listen better.
Yep.
Much like, turning down the radio so you can see the road better when you're driving.
Well, I'm gonna put a little spoiler here without actually being too actual spoilerish. This is him using the thing that will make everything he did loop-wise to not be followed pointless.
Oh, okay.
We're actually to see him use it, but why he didn't use it there,
You don't
or
know.
maybe he did. I can't remember if I actually addressed that or not. But I'm just telling you that's what he's doing here. So he's not actually trying to pierce the veil. He's using whatever he needs to use to know stuff. I thought in this chapter we're actually going to get that. Apparently that's going to be in the next chapter.
Yeah.
If it's not in the next chapter, I have no clue where I reveal that in this
Well,
book.
It's okay.
And I'm thinking of later books, later versions of this book, but I'm pretty sure it's the next chapter.
Okay.
But yeah, Zach.
Zach absolutely getting his ass handed to him because Alkaline decided instead of warning the boys, he's going to set off a explosion, a flashbang with a lot of bang to it.
Yep.
Instead of warning anyone, he's, flashbang out. No, just wings it.
It was almost like because he just kind of reacted. Not realizing
Personally, I had a problem with it.
Why?
Because the way it was, I read it.
Yep.
That I was interpreting the words is that it came from the darkness and passed him towards Alkaline.
Yeah, I could kind of see that.
And I went, wait a second, Alkaline's the one he's like, yeah, I threw it, but it moved so quickly you thought it moved backwards. And he's like, Zach's like, shut up. You are the worst guide ever. I don't think you really know what you're doing. And he's like, but I have a plan. And what's the plan? It's a plan.
Wait until you find out what the plan was.
No, I don't.
The reveal is gonna be make this everything again. That little of what he did in Zinjeni to make sure they're not fouled useless. This makes his entire everything that we're going through pointless.
Great.
But yes, yeah, we got that, and Zach floating, feeling like he's floating.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and
an
everything, 'cause
explosion happened. He got
explosion
tossed
hit his
around.
head and everything. Like, honestly, that was probably one of my best pieces of writing at that time in peer review. Because instead of having it break his point of view,
Yeah.
and have the description of the Ackland picks him up, we're feeling what Zach would necessarily feel. Something I'm at that time never had written before, and it actually kind of.
I'm still moving around.
It's not the best version of it. I can see backward now. But at the time, that was still a very good thought process of, okay, we're in his head. We can't be told that Ackland did this.
He was momentarily blinded, smacked his head off the floor, clearly bounced, got picked up, hit the wall, came back down, landed and fell on the ground, and then started to get his vision back.
No, all that stuff you were talking about, hit the wall. Oh no, that was him being set down.
Yeah.
By Eklund.
I know. But from his point of view, he never felt like he got picked up. He felt like he was still tumbling through the air and shit.
It says he felt himself being picked up and floating.
Well, yeah, but
and moving through space.
He was still. His
he-
head could not tell where he was.
Well, exactly, but it was not like he thought he was still being launched by the explosion. No, he knows that something that just feels like he's in the air, but it was not that being from the explosion because he was on the ground.
It's magic.
Yep, total magic. We're in a fantasy world, right?
It's more Highlander.
Magic. No, there was no swords.
Yeah, no, it didn't need it.
All the swords was done off page.
This was the chase in every Highlander movie.
So you got your Highlander?
I got my Highlander in this episode.
Okay, got it.
Zach didn't understand what was going on, but it's okay.
I have to point out that thing that's Alkland saying fighting all these soldiers in the mines would be really hard. Really?
And then he basically takes them out with an explosion.
Really? Oh, I have it. Later down, I drew an arrow down. Called it.
He was like guys,
yeah, no.
I had a really hard fight back there. It was well, crap. Actually, it was super. The ending of it was super easy, barely an inconvenience. even though I nearly caused a cave-in of the entire mine.
We'll get there in a second. But it's like, oh no, the whole fight was super easy, barely an inconvenience. Again, based on what will be revealed, but maybe not fully explained in this book.
I know.
But yes, but Alclan, also, by the way, I just goes back to the whole eyes closed thing. Alclan's clearly lying about knowing how he knows there were soldiers there, how the tunnels loop back around.
Yep.
Totally lying on that one. That's clear.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And then I can't believe I had to put a note here to myself. I'm, wait, I put that limitation on only certain people could see the light in this draft? Good on me for thinking about it so early. I thought that was in later versions of the story. Nope, I put it in this one.
Good job.
Good job on me.
I do love the fact
job.
that Ryan is the one to point out. He's like, hold on a second. I don't have those marks. How can I see? And Alclan's like, well, I put a magic spell over your eyes, and it can interpret the light properly. And Ryan's like, you know what? That works.
The explanation of it, the shield make it look like think he has a mark. Explanation is dumb. Just saying, no, I crafted a way that will interpret the light, how it's limited, so you could see it.
We like to call this a moment of system fuckery. Just accept it.
Yeah.
Ryan is part of the party, therefore it's okay.
I think I can't remember which version. It's a version of this story where it can't be when in Clock of Ages when I do it. Maybe it was Violet for a period of time, but I don't think it is.
Okay.
But at some point I actually point out like Ryan can't understand the language because he doesn't have a mark. He do the same thing. So
you can solve that by putting a mark on it.
I know, but Alclan is using the marks to translate everything for him.
Right.
But I can't remember which one. If it was Ryan, maybe it was someone else. But at some point, I put that in a different version of the story. But yeah, it was just like that was an interesting explanation. Oh, also the 1,000 thoughts running through Zach's head.
Yeah.
That's a reference to me and how my mind worked back when I wrote this.
Whoa.
Basically, how my mind would work is someone could say something, and to interpret it, my brain would go in a billion different directions on what that meaning could mean. If I thought it wasn't straightforward. Basically, this was how I interpret anything a woman said to me. Do they like me? Or is it this, or is it this, or that, or this, blah. It was the only thing I would do that for. Everything. Thankfully, I've learned how to control that and stop that.
Yeah, stop overthinking.
Sometimes it might still happen, but nowhere near as bad as it did back then. So that's clearly a reference to it. I may not have been referencing it. I just thought I'm going to put that in there. Because remember, Zach is me at this point.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, I'm starting to think Alclan might be Sage. I mean, the Almighty. I mean, because he keeps...
Whoa.
I mean, he seems to be right a lot.
Look, that's just the hero possibility of every story. That there's the guide hero who is guiding the hero. Usually just keeps being really good at stuff.
Well, see,
Even when they're not supposed to be, they still somehow be good at it.
This one was more so like Alclan pointing out things and then turning out to be right. But when it's the way it's written and the way you read it, it's very clear. No, this is Alclan showing his experience
Right.
on things. He's been in situations. He's familiar with how people who have magic from the enemy tend to do things.
Well, yeah.
So
I mean, and it
so it's
totally
very-
makes sense that basically the police force turning the lights off to make sure that you can't see shit totally makes sense.
But it's one of those things where it's just like
Ryan being able to see the light does not make sense.
And I clearly point that out and to try to solve a solution with that. We'll get to me giving answers a lot in this one in a second. But yeah, this was just more of just showing Alkalin's experience and knowledge. Whereas when Sage, I'm not Sage, sorry, Cyrus, it's supposed to be Cyrus, it's not supposed to be Sage. Cyrus in Legends of the Godchild, he's really telling you things that just happened that he shouldn't necessarily have knowledge of.
He has too much knowledge.
Which at the time I wrote him, was like, oh no, he's being made aware of this through the Almighty. But when you read it back, like, no, that doesn't how it reads. It comes off of it was him, basically. And by the way, Alkaline didn't think blasting the ceiling would make the whole mine shake.
What?
Yeah, sure. It kind of caused a cave-in to block them off. That's gonna do something to the mind.
Yeah, maybe it would shake the entire... He didn't think it would shake the entire mine.
Sure.
Just a region of it.
Sure. And then this is where we like the thing. I'm explaining a lot of questions that I have raised in this chapter and giving answers to all of them for some reason. I am over-explaining things that are simple. Okay, the reader, if you trust the reader, they'll figure this out. Not everything.
No.
Like Ryan able to see it? No, that kind of needs an answer. I'm saying the answer is a good answer.
No, but it did need an answer.
Yeah. But
Ooh, excuse me.
we kind of
The explaining of the lights coming back on.
yeah.
Not very necessary,
No.
because you had the light from Alkaline go out
Well, he
right
also
before that. Like, you hear the bang, and then his light goes out, and then those lights come back on. You're like, oh man, are they all dead?
I also addressed the fact that some of them might have magic, and they're causing the darkness already.
Yeah.
So coming back on, I didn't even necessarily explain that. What happened to why Alkalins went out? Kind of need an explanation.
But when he catches up with the boys,
Yeah.
that's your explanation. You don't need to explain the other half of
Oh
that.
no, we just need him to explain. Oh, I lost focus, and that's
When
why
I lost focus.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh,
now logic.
the
gap
other
is-
side lost focus.
or they're dead.
Or they're dead. Dead is most likely.
Yes.
He murdered all of them.
But I'm explaining. I've raised a question, and at some point I give an answer in this chapter. Then I give maybe an Alkan logic, but not maybe. DL stuff is in Cliff, but DL will think, I think it's here, but I know it's there because I saw he didn't have it.
Look, he went back to get his stuff.
I think this is not Alkaline logic. This is Alkaline rationalization.
Yeah.
Explaining it really, really wrong.
He didn't have his stuff last night, so he's definitely going back to get his stuff so that he can run away from this place.
Especially when he knows where the stones are.
Like,
Apparently.
And that for me is the funny thing about it, is that there is, like, some of the explanations were unnecessary, and it could have just been Alkaline going, guys, we need to get back to town.
Yep. I'll explain things later.
And as Zach can be like, well, wouldn't he have just brought his stuff up here? And he's like, he didn't have his stuff last night, and that's why I know he didn't. His stuff is back at his office. And you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Now having to go, but he thinks that I think that he thinks that we're. It's like, oh, we don't need to play this many layers here, okay? It's not Inception.
We can play those. You can have those layers, but show the layers.
Yes. And slowly break down the layers, not just it's only one layer, but we need to make it think that there's 9 layers.
Or have it when you finally catch Deal, have him say, "Oh, I thought you would think I had my stuff and I was leaving, not
and be
here."
like, no.
you didn't have it last night. And he's like, I know, I should have had it with me, and then brought it back to my shop, and then went up to the mines, and then found the stones, and then came back to let you know, and then brought you up to there.
Yeah.
Dale, how many plans were you making? So many. I have 19 plans.
Lex Luthor from the Batman v Superman.
He has less plans than I did.
He has plans that require other plans to fail
In order.
actively for that plan that he's planning on using to work.
Yes.
But yes, and also when we finally get back to Cliffy. Yes, when you find Deal, yes, a scrawny boy is going to take off a large man off his feet.
It can happen.
See, I think
In my mind, Zach threw his entire body.
Oh, no, that's
it wasn't like an attempt at a tackle where it's like I'll grab him around the wrist and around the waist and try to bring him down. No, this was a crossbody from the top rope.
Oh no, that's exactly how I pictured myself and tried to write it that way. But I still don't think it's enough to take him off. What would have been a better thing is he hit him, Deal didn't go down, but it caused him to stutter, trip, and then that took him down.
Yeah, they tumbled after that.
Him tumbling, and instead of him hitting him and actually sinking him down, it caused him to lose pacing.
Zach
stumbles, and he tumbles to land. That would make more sense. Also, in
Zach
later
catches him in a cutter. RKO out of nowhere.
He is a wrestling fan. In later
I know.
versions.
See, I could see him doing that.
Yeah. In later versions of this, there's an actual chase scene of Zach chasing him down and using. He gets up high you get more momentum to take him down when he hits him.
See that?
So a little bit more.
So seriously, from the top rope.
Actually, I think he's from the top of a one-story building.
Oh, so he's going the Robin method.
Yeah.
Robin from Teen Titans, not Teen Titans Go.
I don't know. I don't care.
He jumps off a 20-story building and double knee drops somebody.
Cool. And doesn't break his knees? Cool.
No.
Nice.
Walks away from it.
But yeah, in later versions, I know he goes up, maybe not to a first story, but he gets up higher. I think at one point it's barrels or something. They're higher up. He gets on that to launch himself off as he chases them.
Okay.
Maybe it's in another version. It is from a story. I can't remember. But he's realized he's a big dude. I'm a scrawny nerd. I'm not taking him off, no matter how much if I catch him and run at him.
Elbow drop from the top rope.
Momentum, at least if I'm coming from a different angle, maybe that might help.
Phenomenal forearm.
But yeah.
DL just goes, "What are you doing?" and actually trips over Zach.
Yeah.
Because Zach overshot him. Oh, jeez.
Nope. Better one. DL stops. He lands in front of him like, what were you thinking? Goes to step over him. Zach grabs his foot and he tumbles. It's like
rolls him up like Austin did to Owen Hart. Just grabs him and pulls him down.
Oh no, he just grabs as he's stepping
grabs
over.
His tights.
He just grabs that. He grabs his second one foot goes over as he lifts the other one. He just catches it, and that's enough to him.
We're now adding more wrestling into the show.
Of course.
Yes.
Oh, so this
Highlander and wrestling now.
So it's the Storytime Podcast is a mixture of As the Buckle Turns and the Storytime Podcast.
Probably.
And an untitled future version of Need More Highlander.
Yes.
Podcast.
Yes, Need More Highlander.
That will be on a different channel, completely different.
Yes.
Not related to Highlander whatsoever.
It's going to be a podcast about other things that need more Highlander. Highlander, the TV show, will be a normal, reoccurring thing. Same with Airwolf.
That's just hilarious. And I'm just going to throw this in here because we haven't said this in a few episodes.
Yeah.
Just remember, though, this worked. Him taking off Deal because Zach is cool because he collects katanas.
Yes, he does. Yes,
we haven't said that enough, so I got to bring that back in here. That's his catchphrase for the...
Look, this is part of a chapter.
Yes and no. I think that I'm gonna save whether it should be part of the next chapter or not for after we do the next chapter.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know if it should be part of the next chapter or not, but like this feels like it could have now been the end of the previous chapter, or
at least the mine story arc.
Because I know in later versions of this book, the last chapter ends when Alclin blasts the mine.
Oh, okay. With
so
the light going out.
No, when he blasts the soldiers and Zach hits the ground.
Oh,
That's where we laugh. And we kind of get that feeling of him being floating through the air.
for the beginning of the chapter.
Yeah, setting down,
Alright.
lowering, and everything. So it literally the chapter literally ends in a bang. Not twist. He's turning on you. No, we know the twist, and Alclin goes like, "Oh, I'm ready for this." I don't know.
Flashbang out.
So, and I don't think this chapter ends the way it does here.
Okay.
And I think it may maybe in later chapters it does because we have the chase.
Yeah.
But I think I know how the next chapter ends, but I'm not sure. I'm not gonna make a prediction, but I think I know. If I was more confident, I'd make a prediction, but I'm not. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's not a bad chapter. It's somewhat action packed. I think we need more visible action that Zach's involved with. I get the whole point of Alclin sending them ahead so he's going to defend them.
Right.
But having them not go far enough where they can still maybe witness the action.
No, they just took off.
Oh, no, I'm saying what we could see.
Yeah.
Well, I think what we're talking about it already. So let's talk about how would we fix this chapter, Adam?
Actually, I really wouldn't. I mean, yeah, there's, the whole
see, I can
way things are being described. I could change, but like story beats of this chapter, I'd leave it alone.
See, I can actually answer this one very well because this is the one that I constantly fix in later versions of the story. Don't have Zach just run down DL. No, put more of a chase into it.
Oh, okay.
Or start it. Because I actually think one of the versions of it ends with they spine DL and he runs and Zach chasing after him, or Zach like he finds him because they split up more, and he chases after him. And that's the end of the chapter.
Okay.
In one version of it, something like that. But adding a little bit more action where they either they participate in, or they at least see they don't run off. They see Alclin fighting the soldiers, and then maybe Alclin's saying, "Run." So they don't have to defend you. Maybe he has to stop. One gets by, he has to run. He takes a hit because he has to save them. And he's like, get out of here. And that's how. So we just get a little bit more actual visual action there. But that's really about it. I think there's most for the beats. It's good.
Yeah.
We're ending a little bit on, okay, we caught him. Now what? We're going to get the stuff. What happens to the soldiers? Are there more soldiers?
Are there going to be more soldiers?
Were they in the mines? Did Alclin actually kill them, or did he just trap them in one of the versions and they're gonna find their way out? We don't know all of that, any of that stuff.
No.
So it's a nice little cliffhanger, but there was definitely stuff I felt this one needed more to, because I fixed it a lot.
Yeah.
And it really came down to get Zach more grounded in stuff. I still think they got away from Alclin in the mines to get that visual, because it is a cool visual. We don't know where Alclin is, and that light suddenly goes out.
I do like were we so like worried about running away that we didn't even hear him go, "Hey guys, you're leaving me behind." Whoa, little buddies, slow down.
The other thing I would do was, because it's mentioned that the glow of the light isn't with them anymore, floating around them anymore.
Right.
But they can still see. I think what I would have him do is he replaces the torches with visual balls down the path.
Okay.
So as they keep going, so there's still ones there, or they each get their own. And I think in later versions, they get their own.
Okay.
Like he makes 3 ones, one for him, one if they split up, something like that. I'm not sure. I know at some point they do all get their own end of the story.
In my head, it gives the glow of basically a glow stick.
Yeah.
Like it's not much, but you can see the walls.
Yeah. But the idea, I do like this visual chain of light ball orbs going down the line, along the line, and having like I'm seeing it right now like a mind with a blue tint to it because there's blue orbs all the way around. You can see that as you look down in a straight path, you see multiple orbs. A gives you a path, and B, no one else can see it but them, so why not do that? But I think that's something I would add now, like right now. That's something I didn't add later on.
Okay. Alright.
But I do think I keep the visual of light goes out, it's black, then the torch, the blackness lifts, and the torches are visible. I think I've always kept that. When we do Clock of Ages, we'll find out.
Oh, okay.
That's the only other version of this book we'll do. I thought about doing the first version of this one, but I'm like, no, it's too much. It's the exact same story. I think there may be some small changes to the story, but not enough to go through the exact same events played out very similar the way. Whereas Clock of Ages, yeah, it's the same events and a lot of things, but there's a lot of things change on the journey.
Oh, okay.
But that's what I would change. But nothing for you?
No, not really. Not really.
Potentially add it with the last chapter or the next chapter?
But I don't know yet.
Yeah, okay. But it's one of those things you're considering.
Yes.
Okay. Makes sense. Well, with that, if you got nothing else to add, we'll wrap this up. If you enjoy this, we're assuming you made it this far that you are, so why not go and punch that like button? No. Smash that like button and do it as a prayer to the holy algorithm.
The holy algorithm.
And subscribe because I got other writing content on this channel, which is on screen now. But don't forget to go check out Adam's gameplay channel. Adam?
ZOP Gaming. We play video games.
Really? That's what you do?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a link to Adam's channel on screen as well as the content on there. Pick something. We'll see you wherever you select. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.